hello! This is part 3 of me building my Japanese-inspired slumber island. Last time, we built this crop field over here. If you want to watch the other episodes, I shall link to them, but don't worry, you don't have to watch them to know what is going on today. Because, you know, it is kind of just, building an Animal Crossing. And you know what? I've been recording all of the other videos during the day, but I've been thinking, do we want to try and play during the night maybe? Or maybe during the early morning so that it's a bit lighter? Because, as you can maybe hear, the music's slightly different, and I think it could be fun to listen to this music for a little bit. So hold on, let me open the map and show you what area I want to work on. So the lower right of the island is pretty much done, except for a few things that I still need to figure out. And then I'm thinking about tackling the lower left today. So this sort of area, I've already removed the trees over here. We do also have the river mouth over here, so that is something to figure out as well. I have not forgotten about my house that is on this island as well. I'm thinking that could maybe go in an area up there. But yeah, that is for the future. I'm thinking for today, I want to take care of this area back here, which is kind of big. We're gonna have to see how much of that I get done today. The first thing that I'm thinking is I've kind of built everything up on a cliff so far. So I'm thinking it could be cool to maybe have this be on the ground. And in order for this to look normal with the river mouth, I think we're actually gonna have to cut back the cliff a little bit that I built over here, which is a bit sad because I remember spending so long on this. And then somewhere over here we could maybe have a staircase that goes down somehow. Maybe we could even place it sort of sideways. So yeah, what if we extend the path over here a little bit and then have a staircase kind of facing this way so that you would, you know, walk downstairs by going this way. Does that make sense? And then we have to make the rest of this look normal. Maybe it could just kind of go inward a little bit like that. Thinking it might look a little bit random to just have the staircase on there. Maybe we could extend this a little bit to maybe place a fence on top of there. See, like that. I think this is cool. Okay, let me grab a staircase. The preview for this does not have the best perspective, but I think that's cool. And then I'm thinking, you know, I was going to close this off over here, but what if we actually continue the cliff somehow in the future? Like, what if right across from this, we build kind of like a bridge across to the cliffs back there? That does make our field entrance down there, a bit inaccessible. This is again one of those times where I wish we could just have actual bridges across cliffs. Actually, yeah, wait, I want this to be 4 wide, so I do have to remove the fence here. But I'm thinking this is convenient too, because that way you won't have to kind of go around in a huge circle throughout my whole Zen garden to get to the area up there. With this in place though, I'm thinking that might be cooler to move the staircase down by 1 tile. See, it would have to look like this, which is not that bad. But in my heart of hearts, I know that this is not quite the same as over here where we have like a square drawn out with the tiles. I would love to do that over here too to keep it consistent. He literally just went, okay, I've demolished it. Because it's that easy on here. I wonder what that would have looked like if we were actually able to see it when he demolished it. Like, do you think it just blips out of existence? Probably, right? And see, now it's ever so slightly different, but I just prefer this so much more because it's consistent with the pattern that we have over here. And then maybe the bridge could be a different material, but I think that is something that I'll worry about in the future. Then let's maybe get rid of this pond a little bit for now. I'm sorry, fishy. Maybe we could fence it in a little. What if like the border was somewhere over here? That way we still have a bunch of space, but it's not like that crazy big. I've kind of placed the fence absolutely everywhere right now, all the way to the water, but I'm thinking we could add like a little entrance somewhere at some point, but I don't know where that should be yet, so for now I've just placed the fence everywhere. And then let's do something with the water first. You know, I've been dying to use that Zen bridge. See, this one down here, it does also come in red, but I feel like red is not really our vibe, so let's go for the wooden one. Okay, so I have one of the kits now to place it down, but obviously we don't have a spot yet. I want to build that now. I think it could be so cool if the bridge was diagonal. But wait, I just thought of a thing. I also would like to use in-game paths, specifically maybe the sand path, because, you know, Zen garden and all that. And placing paths next to diagonal rivers is always a bit of a pain. Like if I do something like that, I'll be left with a large section of grass. And I don't think I want that at all. I think I want for it to look as clean as we can get it. So let's maybe keep that idea with the diagonal bridge in mind for the rest of the island. But I think on here it would probably be better with the paths if we made it just straight. So what if we just have the river kind of go super straight like it's a channel? I guess maybe that could be the border for our Zen garden then, and then it could start over here. But then we don't actually have that much space, but I guess we could also use all of the beach too. I guess we won't really be needing the fence over here anymore. And then how exactly the river continues is a problem for future me. But I guess with that we have our new borders for the Zen garden, which will be all of this area instead. And I don't think with the stairs and the bridge I can still place a normal tree here, but you know, there is the pine tree item. To that, I think this covers it up nicely. And then let's think about our actual Zen garden here. So I do want to place a little bit of sand. Does it actually look the same as the one on the beach? Yeah, it does. Okay, that's nice. I don't think I want to cover everything, but maybe a few splotches here and there. Like, is that cool if we add a few random shapes? I guess it depends on what we want to place on top. Maybe we should think of sort of like a pathway first. But what if we make it a bit different and instead of having tiles, we just kind of have a normal path? Maybe there could be one of these kind of in the center as our centerpiece. And then, wait, we should maybe do the tiles first. I suppose we're going to need one path sort of up here, so that we can create a pathway up there to our next area. And then what if there is just one more that kind of goes over here? Ta-da! So that we kind of have like all of the paths diverge from this gazebo thing. Ooh, what if I leave like a small section of grass over here though? And maybe this could remain grass too, but then what if we did some more sand over here? I'm thinking we of course need more of the pine trees. Ooh, yeah, that looks really cool when you're on the bridge here. I've now placed a bunch of them kind of absolutely everywhere, even this close to the sea, which I feel like is probably not very realistic at all, but I'm not really worried too much about realism. Maybe one could go down here as well. And then what do we think about maybe placing some type of water feature over here? I know a Zen garden is kind of like meant to be a dry garden, like that's kind of what it is. But I have seen some with like lakes in them as well. Maybe just this outdoor bath item, does that fit? Yeah. Okay, and then we should definitely start thinking about rocks because that's kind of the most important thing. At least the main thing that sticks out to me about Zen gardens. Now, are there normal rocks in here? Oh yeah. This also feels so wrong to just plant a rock. Okay, this is actually starting to look like a Zen garden, yippee. I don't think those types of rocks can go on the sand. Okay, never mind. This feels cursed. Wait, can we place like everything out here? Tree? No, of course not. Ridiculous. Why would I think that? Cedar? No. Bamboo tree? Okay. Bushes? Also no. Huh, I guess it's just the rocks then that normally can't go on the sand that for some reason on here you can place on the sand. What do we think about the rocks placed like that? I feel like this definitely does not feel natural, but I mean, this is a garden, so it's not a natural environment. Hi, this is day 2. I'm gonna be so honest, I forgot what I was doing, but I will now continue the Zen garden over here. And I've also, wrong button, I've also been in the real world, and I've crafted some things that might be useful for us. Like this bamboo stool or the glowing moss stool. I thought these might be useful. Especially, there is also this glowing moss hill thingy that I made. I thought that might be cool to use here because I had a look at some pictures of Zen gardens and they had like, I guess, moss hills as well. Here. See, and we could maybe place that on the beach to bring some green into the space as well. Glowing moss boulder. It does also come in other colors. Okay, I think I'm gonna just use the bright green ones. I think this matches the best. Then we could also grab the stool and maybe put it in front. Basically just add a bunch to create the illusion that we got like some moss or some grass over here as well. And I've made some extra rocks that I've not had before, like the spawn stone and this just regular garden rock. Yeah, and that way we can make it seem really lush over here. And dumb question, could I maybe technically even place some stuff on top of there? You can! Okay, that really surprised me. I did not think you would be able to do that. Okay, now I have endless new possibilities, which I will ignore for now and just focus on placing more moss. Speaking of which, we could also just place the regular glowing moss too. Yeah, maybe just surrounding everything. And then maybe over here just one extra pine tree. And what if over here in this spot we place a little bench? I highly doubt you would be allowed to walk on the sand or the gravel in a real Zen garden, but again, this is just fantasy. Also, I just remembered we were kind of playing at night earlier, right? And now I'm playing in the evening, but oops. But hopefully that's alright. I have also been thinking for this little gazebo thing that we have over here. You know, there are these simple panels, and they do come with a certain customization that looks like this, the lattice one. Would that be cool to maybe try and include onto the building? Like that maybe, and then on the other side as well? I think that's cool. Do we maybe want to give it another color? Because I know there is this, ooh, it took a while to load. Okay, I was confused for a sec. There is this light brown variation. My goodness, why is that taking so long? Dark brown, but I don't think that's the vibes for us. And there is also this mossy one. Light brown looks like this. I think I want to go with the mossy one, right? I mean, everything's really mossy here, so it only makes sense, really. Plus, that maybe does add to the vibes of this being like an ancient sort of alternate dimension type of deal. Maybe alternate dimension is not the right word. I kind of want this to be like the realm in between the afterlife and the actual real life, right? But when it comes to the lore though, right, I've been thinking about it some more, and previously I said that my idea was that spirits come here, like people who pass away, and then they end up here if they're not quite ready to head on to the afterlife just yet. And previously my idea was that maybe spirits come here who have unfinished business. But then I thought to myself, what does unfinished business even mean? Because I think usually in media that means that maybe you still have like a grudge against somebody and something that you owe that you still have to give back or something. But if we wanted to do something like that, right? Ooh, would this be cute? I think I like that, but we're going to have to find something else that's blue to tie this in. I was gonna say, I think I would find that pretty unsatisfying if we want for that to be our lore. Because that would mean they have like unfinished business, but then they come here and then my lore would have to be that they like sort of, I guess, forget about their business. Do you see? I feel like this doesn't make much sense. Because really, what they should do if you have unfinished business, the spirits should probably like give you another chance in the real world to kind of take care of everything that you still have left. So, I would like to suggest a new idea. And this is actually some lore that I had the idea for quite a long time ago for something else. But reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Do you know about that? I want to say Greek, is that correct? Folklore, where the journey into the afterlife across a river costs actual coins. And so way back in the day, people used to get buried with coins. But maybe that's become really, really rare in modern times, and so now you kind of have a problem where the spirits kind of do want to pass on to the afterlife, but they can't because they don't have coins. And see, this is kind of getting ahead of myself, but I've been thinking I want to maybe place my house back there up on this hill, and I might want to decorate it like a bathhouse. What if the lore could be that the spirits have to like work there to pay off their fee? I think that's a really fun idea. Okay, I've just placed a bunch more lamps everywhere so that we have light at night too. And I think I might be done with that for the day. I think this turned out so cool again. And I'm thinking, you know, looking at the map, that may have just been basically half the island. Oh, and by the way, it still says Dreamyland up there, right? I've been thinking about a name and looking around everywhere, the other areas as well. It's become increasingly obvious that I really like green on here. Really, there is kind of a lot of it absolutely everywhere. So I've been thinking, what if we give it the name Midori, which is just green in Japanese? I know that may be kind of basic and everything, but I think it's cute and it's definitely very fitting. So let's do that. Here I go. Okay, yeah, that is how you spell that. Confirm. That's such a cute word as well. I'm really happy with that. And now it'll say that at the top there, yay! And I'm thinking, since this is half of the island, do we maybe want to do like a whole island tour looking at everything that we've got so far? I think that would be cute. So here is a work in progress tour of my slumber island, Midori. This is my entrance with all of the torii gates. This took like 2 hours in real life and you just walk through it so quickly. That's a bit sad, but I think it looks really cool. It's very like lush and jungly and very green. Yeah, the name definitely fits. And then when you continue on, you get this lookout section with the other torii gate back there. Also a little bench to sit down and look on over this crop field that we made. Where again, I think I said this last time too. The bottom part of the lookout is looking pretty cool so far. The top part is a work in progress. This path to the right leads you down to the beach, which I've not decorated yet. Down here you can also walk through this little gap in my stone wall over here, and this is how you can actually walk inside of the field. And then if you go back up and take the path to the left, over here we just made this land bridge, which is not done yet, but is going to be decorated at some point. And then down here leads to our Zen garden. So you can take this pre-Zen bridge over the channel. And then this is the very cool, very mossy Zen garden with like a water feature over here, and of course a ton of the pine tree items. Honestly, these new mossy items really ended up carrying this. It's so smart that I woke up, quote unquote, and quickly crafted them. You know, I'm thinking I might want to use them on my actual real island too now. How dare I sleep on these? Oh, do they make little particles too? That's so cute! Yeah, And yeah, back here is this little like custom gazebo, I guess. And then back here is a little gap in the fence, and this will come soon. The beach over here is not done yet at all, and also all of this area is also something that we're going to have to tackle in the future too. But I'm thinking up here we could maybe build some hot springs and also place my house that I want to turn into a bathhouse. And so that is where the spirits can work to pay off their debt. And then over here is also the land bridge, and then we're gonna have to make a path that connects up to this like hill, which is again also a work in progress. But so I'm thinking we could make like an epic looking incline here towards this torii gate. And then my lore over here is that this is kind of where the spirits will then be able to walk through and pass on to the actual afterlife once that it is paid off, of course. But with that, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And I'll see you in the next video where I think it's finally going to be cherry blossom season. But yeah, see you then. Bye!